Hello everyone, I'm going to start this week's episode off with a little story time. So this week's guest, I have Jacson, or Jack. He is a world-class astrologer, and I'm going to actually start from now on saying how I know these guests and how they impacted my life, because I think that will give a little bit more context and a little bit more insight into why I had them on the episode. So I was living in Australia, I just moved, and I was so overwhelmed. I had one of my biggest spiritual experiences that I ever had a couple weeks before leaving. And I was really wanting to make sense of what happened. And I was just calling in, like having someone who understood me and having someone who could show me how to further harness my powers. Anyway, when I was in Fiji, I met a friend who was on her way to Mexico, and she got to Mexico and she had told me that her and her soon-to-be stepmom were going to be meeting with an astrologer in Mexico, and then basically she told me it was amazing, so she put me in touch. And I had a session with Jacson and it changed my life fully in so many ways. He was the one that told me that I should go live in Melbourne because there's going to be more heart-centered people. So for those of you who don't know, astrocartography is a really powerful way to see where to travel, where to live, where to go for certain activations. So that's a really cool thing to check out. Anywho, he just has so much knowledge that goes beyond astrology. He taught me loads of exercises, pointed me in directions of books to read, and just really helped me realize what I'm here to do. And I think that's why getting these readings are so powerful. I hope you enjoyed this episode. It goes very deep, and I'll say that even if you don't understand everything that's said, or even if you do, just know that seeds are here to be planted, and you don't know if it's gonna change your life now or in a year from now, but just be open-minded, and I'd love to hear how this landed with you, because we go deep here into where the world is going. So have an amazing day, enjoy this, and speak with you soon. Welcome to this week's episode of Wisdom Within. I am here with Jack. I'm currently in Nepal, and I'm so excited to see what wisdom comes through in this conversation. So we just want to start by saying hello, saying a bit about what your current offerings are so people can get a feel for who you are and what you do in this moment.
Hi, hello for the audience. I am Jacson Correia. I have been doing self-development since 30 years ago. I started as a Jiu Jitsu practitioner, and now I am a 4th-degree black belt in Jiu Jitsu, a specialist in term martial arts. I have give classes to the army, to the police, to bodyguards. That has been my training. As also, I have trained world champions and national champions and many black belts. After this process, I had a self-realization that I need to work more on my feminine side because my personal relationship with women were not going in the right direction, and they were saying that I was too masculine, too intense, and too in the warrior energy. And I started working with the Mayan calendar, and after that I began to work with shamanism, and then I went to practice of Reiki, and after that I began to do Kabbalah, and I did also astrology, and then I did path work, that is psychological development around the shadow work. Then I did the music therapy. I began to do cacao circle ceremonies. Then I worked with sacred masculine and sacred feminine circles. I began to do after that retreats and be a advisor on how to manifest this retreat for other people. And my life has going more and more into self-development, and here I am sharing wisdom on many fields and many subjects for people, and reading a lot on many other subjects, and giving strategic, educational, creative astrology uh, readings for business people and educators and people that want self-development for all over the world, and studying also geopolitics and politics and many other fields, economics, so I can really give a good advice for the people, not only about, oh, I am a sun in Leo and my subject around that is my image and being a leader and all that, but on the deeper aspects on how you can develop that sun in Leo with a very personal signature around your astrology. So that's what I'm working more today, is also giving retreats in different kinds of activities. That is the combined activities that I do, as also another activities that people ask me, like Tantra, also psychic development, and working with the energy, breath work, and many other things.
Well, thank you so much. As you guys can probably hear, this man is amazing, and I'm so grateful to know you and to have you on my podcast. So, I think what could be useful for people to hear from you, because as you said, you can give a lot of personalized advice, but here for the audience, maybe let's go to the present. Like, what is going on right now astrologically that people need to know about?
Most important things that have changed this year around the astrology is that the Pluto entered in Aquarius. So the last time the Pluto was in Aquarius was in the French Revolution. That was the same time of the American independence and the beginning of the industrial age. And Aquarius is a sign that is showing the future, is a sign of sociology, society, groups, technology, systemic development, integration. And one of the people that is the best examples of this wisdom and knowledge is Ken Wilber. And people can find more about him by reading his book that is Psychology of Integration. And why Ken Wilber? Because he's a philosopher with 5 planets in Aquarius, but even though he's not an astrologer, he's just nailing so many things about the Aquarius consciousness and bringing so much development around that and a lot of knowledge around that. So we are entering that kind of age now for 20 years, and it's an age that we are going to direct ourselves in that kind of development. We got to think more about groups, about what our web, about the systems of gifts that we need to develop to bring creative leadership around the systemic leadership for people. So it's not only about you being a Reiki master, for instance. You got to be a Reiki master and also help people with psychology. You can already see these kind of things that people that are doing psychology is also doing uh, mushroom microdoses, for instance, and at the same time adding that to breath work. Or you can see people that do finance and also is doing finance and at the same time is working with cryptocarbons and cryptocurrency and blockchain and artificial intelligence and investments in robotics and investments in stocks like Nvidia and other um, business that are showing the future of technology for humanity. But at the same time, this Aquarius Ages is asking us to unify these both worlds and bring more regenerative consciousness around the environment into all that. And at the same time, is asking us for making a bridge between the development of our sacred feminine and our sacred masculine, and at the same time to have um, a deeper consciousness of our relationship between ourself, our body, and the 4 elements. So it's this consciousness of different systems. So it's a very educative age, We need to learn a lot, to study a lot. And now this year we are having the Jupiter entering Gemini in the month of June. And Jupiter always bring expansion to the planet. And by bringing expansion to with Gemini, the knowledge and the communication around many subjects are going to grow a lot, particularly the subjects around the astrological process that we are living, like the Saturn now, that is the planet of time and business, is in Pisces, and the Neptune is in Pisces too. So we are having a lot of dreams. A lot of people are having more oniric consciousness of their process. So there's a lot of downloads, and these downloads are going to be more clear after this Jupiter entering Gemini. We just had like 2 weeks ago the alignment of the Uranus in Taurus with the Jupiter in Taurus, and it's very powerful for the Earth. It's very powerful for all the guardians of the Earth, like the different indigenous guardians of the Earth. And people need to get more into the knowledge of this. Why? Because when the Americas, like the indigenous people say, the Great Anáhuac, land between waters, that's the ancient name of the Americas, used to be an indigenous that is not even indigenous. The name come from India. Used to be a land of people that were the guardians of the earth. So when the Catholicism came in, oh, this is from the devil, and they didn't understand that this relationship with the four elements were also crucial for people to keep in balance with nature. And you can see in one of these letters of one of the American tribal leaders that were responding to this American president that wanted to buy his lands. He was saying, "How I gonna sell our mother to you?" Because the kind of relationship that Indians have with nature is really deep. So it's like the water is not the water. The water is another creation of the universe that is God for them, the great buffalo, but it's the truth, and we are all related. That's why they say mitakoye oyansing for all our relationships. So we are having this amazing collapse of the ecosystems. Now, in this last month, we have 20 countries underwater. Right now, for instance, in Brazil, this last week, we have the biggest flood of Brazilian history in the south of Brazil, around Porto Alegre in Rio Grande do Sul. That is the state of Brazil that is in the south. And we just had floods in Oman, in Kazakhstan, in Russia, in in Africa, in Ecuador, Colombia, and many other places, in France. So it's really becoming a big problem, and also tornadoes everywhere. And now we are having a drought in Mexico that is a very tough one that we haven't seen before. The dams here are 50% of what they should be, and this is a crying of the Mother Earth and nature for people to get into unification. And the Hopi prophecy, the Hopis used to say that in this time of crisis there is a new race, a new brotherhood, sisterhood that would emerge. That is the brotherhood of the Rainbow Warriors. The Rainbow Warriors, people think like it's the people of all nations, but it's the people that are connected with the seven chakras. The rainbow are the seven energies. It means are the ones that are in complete alignment with these seven chakras. So first chakra, you are one with the earth, is the red energy. The second chakra, your relationships, your sexuality, your creativity, and your emotions are in love and in the right synchronicity and synergy. The yellow energy, everybody is doing the work and they are responsible for their own energy and happiness and their own survival. And then you have the green energy, Everybody is in self-love, and from this self-love you can really love others because you are sustaining yourself in a higher vibration. Everybody are living and communicating the inner truth. Everybody is doing the process of psychic development and deep intuition, and they can really see the future earth that they come to manifest, and they are relating with each other from a spirituality that is non-judgmental, but more in relationship to a spirituality that can resolve blocks of mental limitations that people have. So these are all concepts and systems of Aquarius age. And also at the same time, we are having in this global process Neptune that is going to enter in Aries, Saturn that is going to enter in Aries. The last time that the Saturn was in Aries was a process of the Second World War. Not the last time, but in the Second World War, we had the Saturn in Aries. So it's a time of conflict. It's a time that we can have more wars, or it's a time of amazing new beginning for the self. It depends if you are focused on anger and aggression, or if you are focused on education, on bringing the new self up, on educating these kids of the new generations. Aquarius age is the age of the genius, is the age of the polymath consciousness. So there's a lot of self-development to be done, and it's very important for all of us to become our master level, because we are always looking for this outside of ourselves, and we are living in a society that is very limited on time. There's a lot of people surviving right now. We have more or less like 2 to 3 billion of people that is really in survival, that they only have the food for eating. So this is a big problem in the planet right now, and that generates violence and generate the need for people to go and steal and do other things. So this is one of the big issues of the planet. And even though there's a lot of problems in the planet, the biggest one is education. And the Aquarius age is the age of education. Is the age when we begin to question the level of education that are not resolving the global issues. Is the age where we begin to develop more cooperatives between different countries. And the first cooperative that we can see that is being generated with this Pluto in Aquarius is the BRICS. Now we have the BRICS that is coming out just in the beginning of this Pluto in Aquarius, where all these countries are coming together to develop a new block. So all these blocks of countries, of universities, of teachers that begin to come together to develop different mindset that are more integrative for the people, that have more support, that are more grounded. Is It's going to begin to happen more and more. And it's very important for us to have a more futuristic mind around how we can resolve the issues that we are living right now in the present, and begin to live this new earth that we really want to live, and start giving this jump into the fifth dimension. So a fifth dimension consciousness, we are much more focused on the vibration of every aspect of our lives, because we are living by divine law. So I cannot expect that the life that I want will be manifested for myself if I'm not being responsible for the vibration that I need to manifest every day, every breath, every beating of my heart, and begin to really believe that I am already living that life. So these are aspects very important, because even though I know how the astrological process is going to be, even though I have many possibilities to resolve this, I need to be in the right vibration. And also, now since 2017, we're having solar storms one after another. Last year we had 2 or 3 solar storms that are called the level X of solar storms. These solar storms happen once every 10 years. And now, just this year of 2024, we already had 5 of these solar storms.
Could you
So,
explain what a solar storm is for people who might not know?
so according to the Mayan prophecies, we have cycles of the earth. These cycles are called 5 cycles of the sun. We are now in the 5th sun. So it's the last of these solar cycles. One total solar cycle, there is the time that the solar system goes around the one of the arms of the galaxy, the Milky Way. It means as the solar system is going around the arm of the Milky Way, in one of the suns is approaching more into the center. And every time this happens, we receive more energy. Since last year, they already say that we enter in a big cloud of photon inside of the Milky Way. So this activates the sun. And when this cloud of photon activates the sun begins to have explosions. These explosions are liberations of radioactivity and solar energy and fire, and they are called solar storms. And these solar storms, they are measured by different types of solar storms. They have, first is the level C, then you have the level M, and then you have the level X, and then you have the level R. And they are really intense. And when they happen, they happen more or less like 2 or 3 days. Just right now, we are having a solar storm level X 2.6 yesterday, and today is going down a little bit. So it's really intense because every X is 10 times the level M. Every M is 10 times the level C, and the normal is the level C. So that's why we are having so many earthquakes. That's why we are having so many storms. That's why we are having volcanoes exploding everywhere. So how people can really survive these times? By being in connection with nature, by going to live near nature, by developing um, permaculture societies and futuristic cities that are really connected with the earth and the environment and the resources in nature, with a educative system that people are supporting each other. Because if the solar storms are growing more and more since 2017, it means that these Mayan prophecies that they say that the sun is going to come into this very intense activity, it's really going to happen. And we really need to be prepared for that. And a lot of people are beginning to already suffer in the processes of the solar storms. And one of these processes is that people have a lot of headache, or maybe they have so much energy they cannot sleep in 2 or 3 days, or sometimes they're just having amazing insights because it's um, it's new reset of the DNA. It's pure light that is coming in. So we are coming for a carbon molecular level into a more silicon level. So we are evolving the body and the DNA to a new level of DNA. And that's why it's accelerating also the consciousness, and we are vibrating higher, and is affecting the Schumann resonance. The Schumann resonance, the normal Schumann resonance around 5 hertz. And in the solar storms of these days, we have had like almost 200 peaks, 200 hertz of energy. So it's really high. So imagine a super solar storm that we could be in 1000 hertz. That is so intense that some people that have not been eating well, have not been drinking water, and have not been relating with the 4 elements in a very natural way. As more unnatural you are, more disconnected from God you are. If you want to ask me, what is God? God is nature.
Hmm.
Let's make God into our image. Let's make the human being into our image. It means we are God as an individual self. And this God that is inside of us is the super consciousness. Even the Kabbalion says the first law of the universe is that everything is mental. So God is a super consciousness. So as we become super conscious, we are becoming hypersensitive, but at the same time, hyper strong. It's not.
Mm.
It's this super feminine, super sensitive, super psychic, super loving, but at the same time, the super warrior in the other side is the superhero or the super heroine in this archetype of goddess of love, and at the same time, goddess of action. That you are in your own royalty, that you are a queen, that you are a king, that you can really resolve and lead, and also in the same time that you are totally open to learn, you are also becoming the master of yourself, but particularly more than anything, master of your own integrity and your own congruence. Because we gotta live it. If we don't live it, our energy that is low is going to be affected by the solar storms and by this change that are happening. And also at the same time, we have almost 9 billion people living in the planet. So it's a lot of consumerism that is happening and is also accelerating the process. So the Mayans used to say that near the end of this 26,000 years, everything begins to collapse. Everything begins to get very intense. But the fifth sun is all the other four suns combined. So the big flood is one of the suns that happened. So now we are having everything together. We are having war, we are having volcanoes, we are having earthquakes, we are having tsunamis, we are having floods, we are having hurricanes, we are having tornadoes, we have big rains, we're having droughts. So it's all together, and the invitation is for you and for me and for everybody to get out of everything that is superficial, everything that is doesn't give you a deeper connection. But this is a big problem because people doesn't want to feel. If you
Mm.
go deep, you are going to feel, and a lot of people is still in this very patriarchal mentality that is all about the goals and the future and ambition and having this and having that and being the power and the ego, and I am this, I am that, and then I gotta be someone important. And people forget that we are oneness, that we are all related, that every person that comes into our life, it's the universe that is sending, that
Yeah.
there is a connection there, there is a message, there is a learning process. Sometimes it's a lesson, sometimes it's a process that I come to develop some creative synergy so we can support each other for the development of the earth. And at the same time, we are all responsible to bring this energy higher, the same way we are here together now communicating out this.
Thank you so much for all of that. I think, yeah, obviously you covered a lot there, and there's a lot that I guess people will take from it based on their situation, based on what level of consciousness they're operating at. I think what I want to touch on is, given all the darkness and all the things that need to collapse in order for things to come through, how do you suggest people or advise people to hold strong during that? Obviously, connecting with nature, community, all these things. But as you say, when you come more into feeling, the sensitivity increases. And so, do you have any other advice for people during this time?
Death is easier when you are really living your life the best you can live. This is very important, that we keep ourselves focused in this today, in this
Mm,
moment, in this breath, in this heartbeat, in this transition from having this interview, in this interview that is coming to the audience with the knowledge that they feel that is most important for them,
yeah.
that they can say, oh, I'm gonna pick this information that this guy is giving me. Maybe
Mm,
they don't get everything, or maybe they don't believe in everything, but if they can get anything from here that is positive for them, that they feel that it's calling for their heart to pay attention to it, and to give energy and to go into investigate and to go into begin to live in this way, well, take it and assimilate and add it to your life. And this is the same thing for everyone. All the people that come into your life, try to pay more attention to people that add to your life, and try to begin to go into this process with these people that you can really create something. The second thing is to understand that we are not here to save nobody. We are
Mm.
here to give the information and to give the development for those that are in this crossroads. They are like almost in the other side into the light, but they are not totally there. They are waiting for this information to come in so they can give this step and move forward into self-development, into congruence, into integrity, into giving attention more to their gifts that they are here to give to humanity. So there are people that are receptive. Pay attention
Mm.
to the people that is receptive,
Yeah.
because those that are not receptive, the universe is telling you to pay attention to yourself. Don't take it personal. It's just now is not a moment to give energy to the outside.
Mm.
Is the moment to give energy to yourself. And you see that sometimes you are in a relationship and it's not flowing. It's because it's for you to give attention to yourself. If it's not flowing, and do that, pay attention to yourself at that moment and feel yourself before you think what you need to do with yourself or for yourself. Feel more what your heart is telling you, what your body is telling you. What do I need right now? But from this feeling, in connection with your heart, with your feelings, and your body. So sometimes you're going to do something that is going against your feelings, and that's not living your truth. So it's important to live your truth
Yeah.
and to begin to give attention to that you feel. That is the direction that gives you peace. That is the direction that gives you joy. Because if you are doing things from a place that is not joy, then you are not totally ready to die. Because
Mm.
when you are ready to die, is because you are doing constantly things that are make you joyful. And sometimes people are in a transition. They are in this process that they are giving more attention to things that make them feel this joy, but they are not totally there. But well, don't give up. Begin to develop your life in a way that you are really grounded, because when you are making transitions, it's important to make transitions from a place that we are really feeling that we are holding our own space and that we have relationships that can hold our space,
Mm.
so we can grow into that direction with baby steps, little actions that are adding. It's like uh, Confucius used to say, a mountain, it's done one brick at a time. Is every grain of sand that you put in it is a little action.
Yeah.
Little acts of kindness with yourself and little acts of kindness with your relationships. Be the example that you want to see in the world. Be that person that you want other people to be with you. But also understand that in the process there are some people that are really in the negative. Just also keep yourself um, giving space to your animal self. That's why I'm a Brazilian Jiu Jitsu black belt. I also know how to defend myself. My senses are much more aware when I walk in the street. When I'm driving, I'm not looking the car that is in front of me. I'm looking three cars in front of me. I'm driving like I would drive a car for someone that is a business person that I'm protecting. I'm not.
Mm.
That's the way I'm looking at life. I'm also living my animal side. I'm also living my warrior side. At the same time that I am living my tantric side. In the same time that I live in my sacred masculine. In the same time that I live in my sacred feminine. I am receptive. If I'm feeling um, emotions that I don't like, I give a space for that. I communicate with my higher self. I communicate with the angels. I communicate with my body. What's going on? Can you explain me? Show me. Give me a confirmation. I connect with the earth. I connect with the sky. I connect with the stars. I think everything is alive and I feel everything alive.
Mm.
And also, I believe that. I work it also in my beliefs. I visualize, I pray. I make ceremonies. I go to sleep and I have revelations in my dreams. So little by little, begin to develop many things that can protect you and can nourish you in different ways. This is very good. This is my way. It doesn't mean it has to be the same way for everyone, but by giving space for your own feelings and your body is going to begin to tell you, oh, you need this, you need that. Um, and by giving space for that and for your inner child to begin to play with this life living sensing every action is going to give you more and more um, certainty about these little confirmations. Oh, I'm giving space to my feelings. Oh, okay, I'm getting it's like this, it's like that. And you begin to balance your life. It's very important to live a life without fear. This is the most important right now.
Mm.
Uh, uh, I'm talking about the situations, but not for people to get into fear, but for people to be aware that it's important to make a change. That is important to have self development. That is important to be prepared. That the signs come and they are telling us that if we are having the rains that we are having everywhere, the universe is telling us something, right? That we need to pay attention and we need to connect with the earth. We need to connect with the elements. We need to connect with the water. There are people that is still needing to go to a party to have a connection with other people. And little by little, holistic parties are beginning to grow, but we still need more of that. That people can really go into a kind of party that you can really be connected with other people. We have it's ecstatic dance now with cacao, for
I love
instance.
it.
This is very interesting, and people are doing yoga and mixing all that together, and they are bringing this into festivals, and there are regenerative processes being taught in these festivals too. So it's interesting, but much more can be done around that. Like
Yeah.
you are doing now, doing the podcast. Uh, that when you uh, are giving space for your heart to really enjoy these new beginnings that you have no control of it, but you can have some kind of playful maturity of creative endeavors. It can be very, very interesting and it can be a lot of fun. The thing is that we are doing things sometimes too seriously.
Yeah.
And when I say too seriously, it's too much in the mind.
Yeah.
So when you do from the heart, it is seriously, but it's loving. So and it's joyful. It's important to do things joyful. It's important to do things also from a place of truth.
Mm.
For instance, when I meet someone, a friend of mine, and I go and ask, "How are you?" and they say, "Oh, I am well." And then when they ask me, "And you, how are you?" Oh, I'm feeling full of energy, and I'm feeling a little bit of anxiety, but it's more like energy that I am with myself. So whatever I am feeling at that moment, I really share it with my relationship. So that kind of connection is not superficial.
Mm.
And some people might say, oh, I don't want to open up to everybody. I don't want to be like that. Well, then you won't see the truth. Because if someone is there and it's open up with you from a place that they are not sharing how they are feeling, it's because they are hiding something, you know.
Yeah.
And it's difficult for you to have heart meaningful connection with people if you are not the one that is starting to say the truth about your own process. And it's very interesting because I come from a process of abuse, and I started to talk about my personal abuse to people when I was more connected with them as friendships. And some people they cannot manage, and some people I even got surprised how they could manage that. And this is the type of people that I pay more attention, because I will be more comfortable with people that are not judgmental, that can hold the space for me, that are looking at my process from a place of um, compassion or a place of interest. And there are some people that you talk about that they just don't have that development. And
Mm.
sometimes it's not that I am judged them because they are less of that, but I understand it that that type of conversation I cannot have with them. Maybe I will talk about business, and then I understand the level of relationship that I have with that specific person. It doesn't mean it cannot grow in that direction too, but I am more grounded in the way I'm interacting with my relationships when I begin to tell the truth, and I begin to live a life that is more meaningful, that is more real, and not a life that is superficial. And then, because I'm having more meaningful relationships, I will not have depression. I am not be confused. I'm not gonna be anxiety. I'm not gonna try to fit into relationships because I'm living from a place that is a place of connection. So these are some of the things that I think it's important for all of us to do. And another thing is important to have eye contact with people.
Yeah.
Many times we are not looking at people's eyes. It's the first level of communication is eye contact, and there are people that you are looking there and they are just like naked in front of you just by looking in your eyes, and you can see they are they are angry. And sometimes you look at that and it's totally the opposite. They are they're in totally arousal, and sometimes they are in love and they are just in a amazing peace. So you begin to have this amazing connection.
There's so much there that people can take. I think back to my question, just the journey of coming into presence with yourself so that you can do that with others. And I agree, so many people are stuck in their minds and their heads that they can't drop in. And I just say to those people, just really any part of feeling that you can get in touch with, like lean into that wherever that is in your life, whether it's the love you have for your animal or the love that you have for your child, just feeling what that feels like in your body. And all these things like love, presence, joy, these are things that are so powerful, but we do take them for granted. We don't realize how by leaning into these things so much can start to shift in your life, even though it doesn't seem like a big thing. And as you said, it's about like one small thing at a time. So if you're still listening to this, then I really hope that you got something out of it that will shift the way that you choose to live, and know that there are consequences to how you live, and you have so much power in shifting the way that things are on so many dimensions. And Jack has helped me so much with my journey. So get in touch with him if you feel called. His readings are amazing. And yeah, I've just been so grateful to have you here. Do you have any last things to share?
The last thing that I would tell people is when you think you have reached there, that place of um, goal that you are setting for your life. And these are micro things during the day, and it can also be big things like, oh, I want to be a millionaire. I want to have a successful marriage. I want to have kids. I want to impact the consciousness of the planet and so many other things. But when you feel have reached there, there is the negotiator that is gonna come in.
Mm-hmm.
And when this negotiator come in, is always gonna look for your comfort zone. You know, this is something that is very important because I think a lot of people now are living like in duality. And this duality is because you are giving space for this negotiator
What do
that's
you mean
coming.
by a negotiator?
Oh, you gotta go and do exercise, right? And you know you gotta do exercise, but then this negotiator says, "Oh, let's see another thing in the internet. Let's call this person. Let's do this. Let's eat that." Or
Okay.
maybe you know you gotta read that book, and then you say, "Oh, I have work to do. I'm gonna focus more on the work and make money." And you don't read the book. Or you gotta go and see your son, or bring your son or your daughter to the nature, and in your mind you will have a set for 5 hours, but then you say no, it's just gonna be 2 hours. So there's always some kind of inner negotiator inside of yourself that is negotiating this comfort zone in some level. You know, no, I'm just very well the way I am, you know. So you just don't want to move from that comfort zone. So working this inner negotiator and avoiding the inner negotiator to come in so much, it's also gonna block the self-sabotage, because first the negotiator comes, and then after the negotiator the self-sabotager comes in. And the self-sabotager can be the avoider, it can be the people pleaser, it can be so many things, you know. It's like the shadow. It can be one of the seven things. It can be so many things that are there that is stealing more of our time. So pleasure is good, and resting is good, and everything um, in a balanced way. Even work. Sometimes people say, "Oh, you gotta rest, man." Like your inner self is telling you, you gotta rest, but you don't want to do that. You want to work more, you want to meet that goal, and sometimes you don't pay attention to your body, or you are not eating well. So it's important to give a space to what's really balanced for yourself as you are making changes for your life. And this balance is by acknowledging these four bodies. And these four bodies are the emotional body, to be really manifesting a life of love and peace and joy. The physical body, being independence and taking care of your health and the way you eat and do exercise. The mental spiritual body, that is the way you communicate with other people and the way you program yourself, your ideas, and your self development, intellectual, spiritual, conscious knowledge about many different fields. And the energetical self, that is the life within you. Sometimes, you know, like for now, um just in India, 55% of the society that goes into internet is looking at pornography. So imagine how people are just not connected with their higher self, because the higher self is also fire, is also energy. So that's why sometimes people just don't get it, because they are not that connected, because their energy is just going and going and going away through that process.
Mm.
So it's more like once in a while, give yourself a fasting, you know, just water, just love, just vegan food, exercise, and working for your independence. Just good thoughts and good books and expensive education. That's the wind. And also taking care of your sacred sexuality, going to Tantra, having meaningful relationships and meaningful sex. So, all these are also things that are important for people to do, that I advise, that can be a good direction to focus a life of balance.
Yeah, so true. There's so much there, and yeah, just taking that first step, you don't have to have it all figured out, and it's a constant journey of coming in and out of balance, because you won't know what it is to be balanced if you don't experience living out of balance too. So yeah, thank you so much, and lots of love to you all.